Good morning, Andy. Good morning, Monet. Anybody, can you guys hear me okay?
Yeah, hey, you're sounding good. This is Andy, and I'm trying to find a way to navigate myself to the accepted backgrounds. That light gray one is what I'm looking for.
I can hear you too. Kimberly,
Okay.
can you hear me?
Yeah. Did you get some headphones? I think it's actually easier to hear you than it sometimes is.
It's interesting. Sometimes when I put my headphones, they don't hear me. So I have to unplug my headphones. And with some people on Zoom, when I talk with no headphones, they say like, we cannot hear you. So I have to put my headphones. I don't know.
You know, I got headphones a few weeks ago and I'm always nervous about whether they're going to work.
It's actually easy.
Oh, is there feedback? Are you guys hearing feedback?
I think we're live streaming on YouTube at this moment, just FYI.
We are. And so I want to see if I need to maybe close that window. Is there feedback? Are you guys hearing feedback at all?
Pardon?
Okay, I heard something in the background. I thought maybe the YouTube feed was repeating.
I'm momentarily switched on the YouTube feed, and you may have gotten some back.
Oh, got it. Okay.
I turned it off.
I had something else that I made, and it's an opening slide. That looks nice, Andy. Do you like the lighter compared to the darker?
I turned my camera on momentarily just to see that I have the new acceptable gray backdrop.
Yeah, well, I like your old one, just saying. But I understand what you're saying about acceptable.
All right, we're approaching the 5-minute warning. Is everybody online here? We have Monet.
Not yet. Let's go ahead and tag.
First on the agenda is Connor. And again, we are recording live on YouTube right now, I take it.
That's correct. Mr. Wicks, do you have a question or do you want a sound check? Looks like we have an attendee named Henry Wicks and with your hand up. So you should get.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can.
Okay, I was just doing a sound check with you.
Okay.
I'm on one of the items representing as applicant for Cottingtown.
Oh, perfect. Okay. So
Okay.
if you want to go ahead and mute yourself when the timing is appropriate, then we won't have to go through the back and forth every time.
Okay. I will mute myself now until called upon.
Okay, perfect. Thanks so much.
Good morning. This is Andy Gustafson, and I am the zoning administrator calling to order the zoning administrator meeting of November 19th, 2020. Thank you all for joining us today. Today we have 5 items on our agenda. And before we get into those, I'd like to do a bit of an introduction about this meeting, and then we'll get going. So we are hosting this meeting online by Zoom and by telephone because of the governor's executive orders, which suspend certain requirements of the Brown Act and the order of the public health officer of Sonoma County that we shelter in place to minimize the spread of COVID-19. The members of the public who are participating in the meeting virtually by Zoom will be able to comment as they would ordinarily be allowed in a public meeting such as this. The Zoom participants will select the hand icon on the screen, and those of you who might be calling in, you press *9 on your phone and you'll be recognized. That'll occur at various points in the meeting. Each item that will be presented will have the project planner give their report, and the project applicant will be able to comment. And then after that, I will invite the public for give them an opportunity to comment. It is at that time that you would raise your hand using Zoom or press *9. Before we begin, we always give the opportunity. Oh, I want to mention also, this meeting is being live streamed at https://www.youtube.com/City of Santa Rosa. It will be recorded and available for viewing after this meeting is concluded. All right, so the first thing we do is allow for public comment, which at this time, if any person wishes to address a matter that is not on the agenda, you may do so now. Please raise your hand and you'll be recognized. I see none, so let's go forward now at this point and move on to the first item on our agenda, which is a hillside development permit at 3728 Sky Farm Drive. And Connor McKay is the project planner. Connor, if you could give us your presentation. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Zoning Administrator. My name is Connor McKay, City Planner, and I'm presenting a new retaining wall for patio and landscaping located at 3728 Sky Farm Drive, which requires a hillside development permit. So the project consists of the construction of a retaining wall to allow for patio space and landscaping areas in the backyard of 3728 Sky Farm Drive. A minor hillside development permit is required because the slope where the retaining wall is proposed is greater than 10%. Here's where the property is located. Here we have a site plan that indicates the where the retaining wall would be located on the site. The house is already existing, so the retaining wall would be added in the backyard to add for that extra patio and landscaping space. Here's an existing elevation from the rear of the house. And there are, as you can see, several trees existing, and all of these trees would be remain with the project. No trees removal is proposed as part of the project. This is the elevations. So as you can see, the retaining wall would be nestled behind some landscaping that would be proposed as part of the project and the existing trees that we just looked at in the previous slide. Here we have the slope analysis map. Where the site is, where the retaining wall is proposed, there's slopes of 20 to 30% or more. And this location has been determined to be insignificant with visual analysis conducted by the director.
Connor, may I ask you use your cursor to identify the footprint of the retaining wall area?
Yeah, sorry about that. I also noticed my address on the top is wrong, so
Oh,
don't mind the address. It's 3728 Sky Farm. I apologize for that. But yes, it's right here is where the retaining wall is. I apologize for the color contrast, but is that a little bit more clear, Mr.
yeah,
Zoning Administrator?
that's very helpful. Thank you.
Cool. We have not received any comments from neighbors regarding this proposal. And staff can make the required findings. The site development would maintain the existing landscaping, which adequately screens the visual impacts from the rear. There would be no reflective materials. The project is exempt from CEQA, and that is at a construction of a small structure. And with that, staff is recommending that the zoning administrator approve this minor hillside development permit by resolution for the proposed project at 3728 Sky Farm. And I'm available for any questions.
Thank you, Connor. Can I ask you to put that site plan, I think it was with the slope density, or yes, thank you. If you leave that there for a moment. Okay, now I'll invite the applicant or the applicant's agent to add or comment further on the proposed project. If you wish to do so, please raise your hand.
I do not believe the applicant is in attendance.
Okay. Is there any member of the public present who wishes to comment on this project? If so, please raise your hand or press *9. Seeing none, I'll close the public meeting portion of this item and take action on this matter. I want to note here that this is a double frontage lot. Connor, if you could put it on the aerial. I just want to acknowledge, there you go. This site has, this project is most visible from Thomas Lake Harris Drive. That's the uphill view I think your photograph shows. And the project would lie, thank you, would lie in the field of view would be, the backdrop would be formed by the house. So one of the key findings is the hillside development will not silhouette against the skyline. And in this case, it will not. I am pleased to hear that the applicant or the owner is going to retain the trees on the site. So with that, the proposed hillside development permit for this requested hillside development permit for this proposed retaining wall to increase patio area outdoors is approved. So with that, this matter is concluded. Thank you very much, Mr. McKay. And let's move on to item number 2, which is a minor landmark alteration permit for 911 Monroe Street, and the project planner is Adam Ross. Mr. Ross, are you ready to give your presentation?
Yes, Mr. Zoning Administrator. I can, let me share my screen with you. Okay. Do you see the plans? I apologize, I don't have a specific PowerPoint presentation prepared, but this should be just fine.
Yeah, I think that's perfectly okay. Thank you.
Okay, so it's a very straightforward project. It's in a preservation district, so it requires a minor landmark alteration permit. In this case, it involves the tear down of an existing, if you see this little cursor right here, this existing garage and kind of storage area to be removed and replaced with a new garage with an attached ADU. That it'll go directly on the same foundation as is already there. There is also a proposed deck that would go in this area between the home and the new unit. And as part of this, there was um, an analysis made as far as its effect on the neighborhood and the existing home, in that it is not detrimental to anything with the existing preservation district and is in line with those around it, including the architectural style and features match the existing home. It is a one-story kind of structure that is being proposed as well. So it's just here. As you can see, it's very straightforward. And here's the deck location. There was some public correspondence involved with this, which the inquiry was that if the deck was on the second story, which I think there was some confusion on the application submittal, but that has been clarified with the member of the public and is included as an attachment for public correspondence. But again, that deck is just on the first level. So it's within the zoning and general plan to allow this. The ADU is actually subject to state law, which is not included, which is technically not a part of this application. The portion of this is actually the storage space and garage for the new garage, I should say. So, and that's it. But overall, here's just the new garage plan. So you see, you have the garage facing the alley, the new ADU between the home and the deck, and then between the home and then a ground floor level deck in between. And that's it from me. If you have any questions, I'm happy to answer any that you may have as well.
No, and I will comment. The resolution noted that the siding of the existing garage, either would it be retained or would it be replicated with the new structure that's being built to replace it?
So it'd be replicated.
Okay.
So it'd just be the similar to the existing home, and not the same, but similar. The same as in it. Well, I should clarify that it will match what is there now with the existing home.
Okay. Thank you very much. All right. That concludes the project planner's presentation. Does the applicant wish to comment at this point? If so, please raise your hand or press *9. And I'm looking to see, I do have a hand, Mr. Mark Perry.
Just checking in. Thank you, Adam. It was a clear expression of the work we plan on doing. I very much appreciate your help throughout this, and looking forward to moving forward.
Thank you very much. All right. Is there any other member of your team or that wish to comment? I don't think so. It sounds like you're the sole representative. At this point, I will now invite the public who might be in attendance to comment. If they so wish, please raise your hand or press *9. Seeing none, I will close the public. I will close the public comment portion of the meeting and return to the project. So I looked at the resolution here, and I think it makes very clear and compelling findings that the replacement of the garage with this ADU will be harmonious with the historic character of the site, and not diminish it in any way. And I welcome or appreciate the applicant's effort to do this improvement and provide an opportunity for housing. And so with that, I will approve the matter. But what I didn't mention at the onset of this, should any matter be decided today that it is appealed, the appeal date would be 10 days from today, or I have to quickly look at my calendar. December, actually November 30th would be the field deadline. Apologize for that. Okay, I'll repeat that at the end of this meeting. So we have now concluded item number 2 on the agenda. Let's go to item number 3, and the project planner again is Adam Ross, and this is for a sign variance at 885 Hopper Avenue. Adam, could you give your presentation?
Yes, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen one more time with you. So I'll start out with an overview on GIS. Let's see. So the project is a sign variance for a newly constructed Panera Bread restaurant cafe with a drive-through. As you can see here, I believe, can you see this kind of GIS image? As you can see here, there is this shows kind of the construction that was previously going on. The site was destroyed in the 2017 wildfires and rebuilt, and had gone through new entitlements for the use here, including a use permit for the drive-through. And there currently exists 2 signs on site. There's one in this location on the south side of the property, and one on the west side facing this side of the parking lot. Since that time, there has been an application for sign variance in this kind of unique location on how it's not really viewable from the street back here. See how it's kind of set back behind this existing gas station and McDonald's location, and the kind of unique area of how Cleveland Avenue is. There's not really a clear line of sight to this site. When you're on the site, there is obviously better visuals. So I'm going to go ahead and then reshare the project plans. So here is here are the project plans. Again, this is kind of what the site is. I'm going to reorient this. So you've got kind of what it looks like now. Here's the drive-through, which wasn't really accurately represented in the in that aerial. Here's the off-ramp to Highway 101. There's some vegetation and kind of like a berm, a little bit of an increase in slope here, just a little bit, nothing too crazy. The existing signs on site is this location and this location, kind of the main entryway to the site. So the request for the variance is a sign on the north side and a sign on the east side. So they face the internal parking lot. There is some exposure to the highway. And so I'm going to bear with me. I'm just trying to get through this. And so this is what the north sign request is. A very straightforward Panera Bread sign for the specific use. Here's the existing south elevation sign. Here is the other request on the east elevation, the Panera Bread sign. And here's the existing larger sign on the west elevation facing the Coles. So here's the requested, here's the existing on the west elevation. It's a 54 square foot sign. Here's the request for both north and east sign sizes. And here's the existing sign on the south side, which is 21 square feet. So the request from the applicant includes a sign variance for an increase in 2 additional signs, because there is a very small shared monument sign on the Cleveland Avenue frontage near the gas station. And there is also so 2 additional signs, both wall signs, and approximately 100 square feet in increased sign, which is 93 square feet larger than what's allowed by the sign code. So there was a little bit of review from staff and back and forth with the applicant. Part of that included the sign code which prohibits freeway-oriented signs. However, after further analysis, staff determined that, due to the unique nature and the parking area throughout the site, that the extra signage was more in keeping with internal signage, and that interpretation has been made on other projects. One thing that staff asked from the applicant, which they did not agree to, was to change the request from the 54 unit, the 2 additional 54 square feet, to the smaller 21 square feet for both wall signs. That again, that the applicant prefers the larger size in this case. So with that, the findings are highlighted in the resolution, which I could share with you should you request it. And I'm open to any questions you may have regarding this application. And I believe there is someone from the applicant team. It might be Patrick, if when it comes up, that might be the applicant. Thank you.
Thank you, Adam. And if the applicant wishes to comment or share more information, you're welcome to do so now.
Hi there. Can you hear me?
Perfectly.
Excellent. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Ross, for the presentation. So I am Pat Yolberg. I'm VP Development for Pan NorCal. Pan NorCal is part of Flynn Restaurant Group, and I mention that only because we have other businesses in Santa Rosa and in Northern California. We're also the Applebee's franchisee, in addition to the Panera franchisee. So the Applebee's that sat on this site dating back about 20 years was our Applebee's. We also own the Applebee's that's in Santa Rosa on Santa Rosa Avenue. So we've got a pretty long and happy history in Santa Rosa. And when the Applebee's burned down, all 32 seconds of security camera footage that survived the fire before it was destroyed. We thought long and hard about rebuilding the Applebee's because we already had a presence in the market on Santa Rosa Avenue. We felt like, maybe the best and highest use for this location would be Panera, with the emphasis that Panera has brought to drive-through and, the convenience nature of the location on the slip ramp. So rather than rebuild the Applebee's, we worked with the city over a period of, probably close to 2 years to get the Panera plans approved and get the Panera out of the ground, and it opened earlier this year. It's a beautiful building. By way of just noting the history on this, when we had the Applebee's there, it was originally built with the Applebee's front door facing north, so effectively facing the 101. And the signage on the front of the building at that time was Applebee's over the front door, and then Neighborhood Grill and Bar also on the front elevation. When we remodeled the Applebee's in, I think it was 2013, we reduced the amount of signage on the building. We took Neighborhood Grill and Bar off and just left the word Applebee's on the front of the building with a new sign. To us, the presence of Applebee's of a size that could be visible and kind of reduce confusion as people exited the 101 was more important than the words Neighborhood Grill and Bar. When we changed to Panera, the fundamental problem was that we couldn't get a drive-through on the building on this lot unless we oriented the front door towards Kohl's. So we lost the ability to have the words Panera on the front of the building. It was at the time when we were going through our signage approval process with Panera, we were very, very focused on complying with the code and hoping that the drive-through itself would generate visual interest and passersby would understand that, hey, there's a drive-through there. It must be a restaurant concept. Hey, let's get off and see what it is. But as we've been operating now for 10 months, especially through COVID, we've noticed that the awareness isn't there to the extent that what we enjoyed with on the Applebee's side. So coming back into the city and asking for some help in the form of a variance was something we did not take lightly. We did open and operate for a number of months with signage facing east and south, but between the Chevron station, the trees along the slip ramp, the raised nature of the slip ramp as you come up Cleveland Avenue towards the north, there's just enough visual noise or lack of visibility. All you see is the blank walls of Panera facing the slip ramp. So, we're hopeful that you will approve the variance. Certainly from our perspective, we think it's necessary. It's a lot that we probably would not have looked at for a Panera had we not had Applebee's there before. It was a successful Applebee's. But knowing what we know now, that it's a good location. It's just an awareness thing, and not having the value of an Applebee's sign facing north, 20 feet up on the front entrance of the building, and not having any signage, in fact, at all, identifying Panera. It's just two blank walls facing the highway, and I think it makes it a bit more of a struggle for us than it would otherwise.
Thank you. Does that conclude your presentation?
Sure. And if there's any questions, at all, please, feel free to ask. I've been associated with this location for quite a long time.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay. I will reserve questions and comments until after we've had opportunity for the public to chime in. If there's any member of the public that wishes to comment now, please raise your hand or press *9. I see none. I will close the public comment portion of this item, and at this point, deliberate. So a couple questions. Currently, the building is in place, and the east and west walls for which that are proposed for the additional signage are unsigned at this point. Is that correct? Patrick, I'll ask you. Or should I ask the project planner?
I'm sorry, I had to unmute. That is correct. The signage that we have in the building currently faces to the interior to Kohl's and to the back of the Chevron. On the drive-through side, the only signage that's present there is the menu boards.
Okay, and your main entrance faces Kohl to the west, correct?
That's correct.
Okay, and that's that 54 square foot sign, and that's the size sign that you're proposing to place on the north and the east side of the building?
Correct.
So, this matter, if I can ask Mr. Ross to put the project plans and the elevation of the north side on the screen to share. I noted that the signage there depicted is not the 54 square foot sign footprint. Can you confirm what size that is?
Are you asking me? Are you asking Patrick that?
Yes.
I'm sharing the screen right now.
Thank you. Right, that is the east elevation. I'm just syncing up, trying to make sure I've got the right page open. I'm looking at hard copy right now.
I think both of the east and north elevation signs shown there, that's that's the subject of the variance, is not the larger 54 square foot sign.
So and this could be a bit of a breakdown with our sign company. I mean, it was our hope that we would get the larger signs approved. And I see that they have the smaller sign shown, it appears. And I apologize for stammering over this a little bit, because when Mr. Ross presented it with the larger signage being requested, that was consistent with my understanding, but I'm looking at the exhibit now and it does look like they've got the smaller signs shown.
Okay. All right. I just
Yeah.
wanted to confirm that.
And just to
Yeah.
clarify, the written request is for the larger sign at these locations. The plans just don't necessarily represent the image of what it would look like of the rendering with the larger sign. It looks like the rendering is of the smaller sign, even though the request is for the larger sign.
Okay. Thank you. Adam, I have a question for you regarding the zoning code provision about signage facing the freeway. Are you able to reference that or speak to more about the intent of that?
Yeah, give me 1 second to pull up the zoning code. I'm gonna stop share here really quick. Okay, I'm gonna reshare the zoning code under prohibited signs. So freeway oriented signs. So it's 2038.080D. So freeway oriented signs primarily oriented toward freeways and highways are prohibited. Signs shall be oriented toward local streets and business entrances.
Perfect. Thank you, Adam. Okay. I just wanted to share that and have that in front of us. So this variant is for exceeding the sign size, correct, Adam? That it's not a variance to the freeway-oriented sign provision.
Right. So the way that it was analyzed is the variance is for 2 additional signs and at 2 additional signs which exceeds the allowable square footage for this business, as well as the maximum 100 square feet defined in the code.
Okay. So, all right, I understand. All right, if we could see the north elevation again, that would be helpful.
Sure.
So I completely understand and support the requested variance to exceed the total site area signage limitation. However, only in that the signage is primarily focused on internal oriented information. In other words, to the parking lot and to that to the person who might be at the coal site to the west, and in a certain sense, to identify the building, to reinforce, and to also create some visual interest, rather than a blank wall. You tag it with the brand. So, as depicted here, I would concur with the findings made by the project planner. However, I cannot, for a 24-foot, whatever square foot signage there, 24.84 square foot signage. The larger sign, which is not depicted here, but noted or described elsewhere on these 2 walls, would clearly be freeway oriented and outsized for the elevations on which those 2 larger signs would be located, and would not fit the finding that this signage would be facing or oriented toward the parking area. And furthermore, procedurally, this variance was not sought for a variance from the zoning code regulation that prohibits freeway oriented signs. So I will approve the requested variance for the sign area exceedance for the 24.84 square foot signs located on the east and north elevation. So that determination may be appealed. There's a 10-day appeal period. And that again concludes on the, what did I say, the 30th of November? That's Monday at the end of the business day. That concludes that matter. Now we go on to Adam. Actually, the next planner, item number 3.4 on the agenda is minor design review for 266 Coddingtown.
Thank you, Mr. Zoning Administrator. I'm sharing my screen. Can you see it?
Yes, I can. Thank you.
Okay, great. So as you mentioned, this is a minor design review for a project located at 266 Coddingtown. The proposal is to remove the existing facade and add a new facade with new aluminum frame and glazing, and also some reconfiguration for the windows and doors at the front of the store. So the site is located in Coddingtown Mall. Is one of the stores that is facing the steel lane and the parking lot. So here is the elevations for the existing store frontage and the proposed one. As you can see, they already have a window and two doors there. Two windows and one door. They are adding more windows to the store frontage. And on top of the building, there is a stucco that the applicant trying to replace it with a new design. It will be similar color and similar stucco design. Here is what the existing look is and what the new proposal will look. A notice was sent to neighbors within 600 feet. I did not receive any comments or concerns regarding this proposed facade improvement or changes. And the project has been reviewed in compliance with California Environmental Quality Act, and it qualifies for Class 3 exemption in that the proposed facade change is for an existing use without any expansion. With that, the Planning and Economic Development Department recommends that the zoning administrator or resolution approve a minor design review permit for the property located at 226 Coddingtown. I know Henry Weeks is here and he's the applicant. He's the representative of this project. And here is my information also. If anyone has any questions, they can call me or email me directly. And that concludes my presentation. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Now is the time that the applicant may comment or add to the presentation.
Can you hear me, Zoning Administrator Gustafsson?
Yes.
Good morning. Thank you for your time. Monet, thank you for your time in preparing and working through our application for this minor design review approval. I need to quickly mention I sit on the City of Santa Rosa Design Review Board, but I also operate a architectural firm, Wicks Architecture, as sole proprietor. As such, I can make presentations on our firm's behalf. Pretty straightforward minor design review we're requesting approval on. This will help complete the northeast section of Coddingtown that's having been remodeled over last 6-7 years. We did Whole Foods 2004, and gradually that entire frontage on Steel Lane has been remodeled. This is one of two remaining that hasn't been remodeled since the 1970s. Bundt Cakes will occupy the space. Sort of neoclassical design architecture. The lower storefront will be improved by adding new bronze-colored aluminum storefront. It will mimic what has been done at Bank of the West to the east, and a little bit of America's Best to the west. The open portion, I'll mention, there'll be a signage application put forward where nothing, bunt cakes will be in that upper band area. The lights are not part of this, as stated on that drawing. The signage will actually be backlit, and that will come in as a separate application and approval process. So that's all I'd like to say about it. I'd be glad to answer any questions you may have, and respectfully request your approvals today.
Thank you, Mr. Wicks. Appreciate your comments or additional information. At this point, I'd like to invite any member of the public that is present to comment. If they wish to do so, please raise your hand or press *9. I am looking and I see none. So I will close the public comment portion of this item and now take action. I think this is a great incremental step towards keeping the Cottingtown Shopping Center vital and fresh, and it's good to see investment like this. I think it's a distinguishing addition in terms of design and materials, but yet complementary. It helps to kind of perform kind of visual diversity across that entire elevation. So I think this job's well done and does demonstrate superior design, which is the overarching goal of the design guidelines. I appreciate very much the application and the opportunity for the city to comment on it. And with that, I approve the recommended minor design review for 266 Cottingtown. Thank you very much. Let's move on to the final item, item 3.5, a minor conditional use permit for 3555 Aaron Drive. And again, the project planner is Monet C. Colley.
Thank you. So as you mentioned, this is a minor conditional use permit for a residential fence for the property located at 3555 Aaron Drive. This is the applicant is proposing to add a 6-foot solid fence within the 15 feet corner setback, but the fence will be placed 10 feet from back of the sidewalk. And this is the location of the project. This is one of the properties that had damage during the tops fire in 2017. The applicant has rebuilt it and wants to increase the location of the backyard, the space for the backyard. As you can see, here is I'm trying to show where the fence is going to be and location of the backyard. So there's already a fence here, the location of the existing fence, and the applicant is proposing to move this fence out in this area. And the new fence will be 10 feet from back of the sidewalk, but within the 15 feet corner setback. This is how the fence will look. It will look similar to the existing fence on the side, but basically going to provide more space in the side corner of the property and provide more privacy for the residents. The notice was sent out to neighbors. I did not receive any comments or concerns regarding proposed fence, and this fence is also in compliance with California Environmental Quality Act. It qualifies for an exemption, which is an accessory structure, and staff recommendation is approval for the proposed fence. And I know the applicant is also here. I believe it's C. Dinero. And if he has any questions or he wants to explain about the proposed fence, he's also available. And that concludes my presentation. Here's my information if anyone needs to email me or call me. Thank you.
Thank you, Monet. Yes, so if the applicant wishes to comment, please raise your hand and we will recognize you. I am not seeing, a second here. Oh, hand is raised. Could you hearing secretary recognize the applicant?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, I don't have any particular comment, but I do appreciate your attention to this. And I'm confident that this small change will add to the property and will be consistent with the balance of the neighborhood. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And now, is there any member of the public in attendance who wishes to comment on this project? If so, please raise your hand or press *9. Seeing no one doing so, I will close the public comment period portion of this meeting or item and take action at this time. Monet, can you put the site plan on the screen? Share that with us, please.
Yes, here is the site plan.
So what I like that first, I'd like to say I'm going to approve this. I approve this as proposed. And here are the things that jump out at me, how this really makes sense and why this provision in our zoning code applies here really well. First, this is a corner lot, and you can see by the placement of the building, there's very little yard. And I would guess if we were to see a aerial view of the other lots in the vicinity, the yards that they benefit from, the private rear yards that they benefit from, are much larger. So that's an important circumstance, that this side yard fence reduction, setback reduction, provides additional yard area, which would allow this property owner to receive the same benefits as the other property owners in the area. The second point is that the location of this fence behind the property line or from the back of the sidewalk is 10 feet. And that separation between the sidewalk and the fence provides for a landscape area that will be maintained and will not result in a abandoned, no, I'll say person land in the residential neighborhood, and maintain the sort of friendly and open streetscape character of the area. So that's commendable. And finally, its location will not disrupt or make difficult the exiting of the neighbor from their driveway that is set back enough that they'll have good sight lines to see cars coming from either direction. So this is a very easy side yard fence reduction use permit to grant. And I think the issue is very clearly presented and depicted here. So with that, I approve this minor conditional use permit. Thank you very much. So that is the last item on our agenda, and it's my pleasure to adjourn this meeting at 11:18 a.m. Thank you very much for your attendance today, and we hope to see you back